Isn't that romantic? Oh yeah, tell me something I don't know, would you please? I didn't pay attention to boring subjects, I guess. He was from New Jersey.
Oh, really?
I said, well, we could get rid of the kids, but not the dog. And have someone like her say, ha ha, she's lucky I didn't plow her one. And I didn't get to become a movie star, I'm sorry.
What is your full name?
Norma Denton is maiden name. Bunn is my husband's name. I just had a birthday. I'm 91 years old.
Leatrice. So, where did your parents get that name? It's an unusual name.
I believe it was a movie star in Hollywood.
Oh, really?
And I didn't get to become a movie star, I'm sorry.
And what do you go by?
Sue.
How did you get Sue?
I have no idea. My sister is Helen Lucille, and she goes by Sally. She's 2 years older than me. And I guess she was Sally for some reason. Then somebody insisted that they knew we were named after a team of horses. Isn't that romantic? I never went by my real name until I started the first grade in Onaway. The teacher kept calling me Beatrice. I don't know, who is she talking to? And I went home for lunch and I said, Mom, why does that teacher keep calling me that funny name? And she said, well, what did she knew what was coming. But my mother went to the school and asked her if she would call us Sally and Sue because everybody in town, that's all they knew us by. Oh,
did you ever get in trouble when you were little?
No.
Never?
Hardly ever knew to mind.
What do you remember most about your father?
His humor.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, he was real funny.
And then what do you remember most about your mom?
She baked the best bread in town. Well, both my mother and dad were fairly intelligent. They didn't get far in school, but they were smart.
Were you born in Potlatch?
Yes.
Is that where you were born and raised?
Mm-hmm.
So what are your best memories about growing up in Potlatch?
Well, my sister listened into all of the gossip the elders were talking about. When the weather was nice, they'd sit outside and talk. She would hide in the brush or somewhere else or where they couldn't see her. And she learned a lot of history. And we have a relative, some kind of name like the so-and-so boy or something, and he was a bad criminal. Well, we didn't claim him, but he was related to us. I didn't care. I didn't even know who he was, but it was certainly something to have a relative like him. I was a drum majorette.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's fun.
That was a fun thing. Then the Depression came along, and that was a real killer. We were never hungry, and we really didn't think about anything being bad or wrong because everybody was in the same boat. But my mother worked in the thrift store, and I think she got $1 a day. Well, that was a lot of money in those days. Someone had donated a pair of rubber galoshes. So she brought them home and they fit, and I was in seventh heaven. And I wore them to school, and this was a doctor's daughter with long black curly hair. And she said to me, ha ha, you have to wear boys' galoshes. I said, well, ha ha yourself, they keep my feet dry. And I was wondering, I thought she'd be happy for me that I got such a treasure. No, she just had to make fun of me. And have someone like her say, ha ha, she's lucky I didn't plow her one.
She is lucky.
Until World War II came along and rescued us, I guess they say. My mother worked in Longville Mill during the war when they wouldn't hire women. We bought bonds and stuff. It was a different kind of life living through a war like that.
I bet.
I went to work for the Bell System
Mm-hmm.
in Longview, Washington when I was 17 years old.
Oh, okay.
I quit high school because I felt like the subjects they were teaching us would be of no use to go out and get a job or make money. I didn't pay attention to boring subjects, I guess.
Where did you meet your husband? Was he in Potlatch with you, or did you meet him somewhere else?
No.
Okay.
He was from New Jersey.
Oh, really?
A New Jersey boy. And when Pearl Harbor happened, he had two buddies. They shook hands and agreed to all go down and join the Navy. They didn't want to be in the Army, so they joined the Navy. And they thought if they all went together, then they'd send them to the same boot camp or whatever, and they could go through the war together. Well, they sent one here and one here and another one here, and they never saw each other again until the war was over.
They all survived the war, all three boys.
Mhm.
Oh, that's good though.
Yeah. Well, then I met him. He worked, because he was a veteran, he got hired by the telephone company. They hired all veterans then. And he was a telephone installer, repairman. So I was an operator at the time for a couple of years, and I lived with my mother. He spent his money that he had extra. He gave his mother and dad money because his dad had lost his arm in an accident. I spent my money on clothes. I bought more shoes and things than you would ever guess. I was just in seventh heaven. I never had so much things like that. They were mine. They were new. I guess he asked me if I wanted to go to a movie or something. I went out with him a few times. I think it was probably a year before we really dated. Well, we eventually got married.
You were married 64 years? Is that what you said?
I was 20 years old when we got married. He was 25. We started out in Ostrander. We bought a little shacky house out there and remodeled it and whatnot and sold it. And then we moved to Yakima, and then we built a brand new house there, and it was between three orchards. It was really nice out there. But we didn't like Yakima. And that's when he transferred to San Diego because they were opening up a new division down there. We hated California. And he said, I just can't stand this place any longer working here. He said, I'm going to resign, and then we're going to go somewhere else and I'll find a job somewhere. So we bought a 1.5-ton truck, and we had one of those turquoise and white Chevy when they were all popular. And we headed north, and we got to Potlatch. I said, well, let's stop in Potlatch. You never know what might be there. And we drove in there, and half of the town had burned down. And I said, well, I don't think it looks like you'll be finding work here. And then we'll drive up to Coeur d'Alene and see if there's anything up there. So we did that. And we tried to rent a house. and no one would rent to us because we had 3 kids and a dog. I said, well, we could get rid of the kids, but not the dog. No, you're not gonna pull ass. I said, what we're gonna have to do, Stan, is go and put the kids in school over at my mother's town. And you and my dad are gonna have to come here and look for a farm to buy or something. Stan said, oh, about 20, 30 acres maybe. So he called this guy, and he did come right in, and he and my dad and the guy that owned it went out to Cougar Gulch to look at the house. It was an old farm. It had been a dairy once, and it was an old farm, and cattle had walked through it and went to the bathroom. Oh God, it was a mess. But it was stable, and there was a good outbuildings and whatnot, and it was 560 acres. And Stan thought, what's the business? And he said, well, how much do you want for it? He said, if you can pay $4,000 down, and it had timber on it. And Stan says, oh yeah, he said, I've been buying AT&T stock for a long time. I got that much. I didn't know he was buying AT&T stock. I didn't know he even had that much money. And that was my introduction to, you better see what's on their paycheck from now on.
Read the
How do
fine
you
print.
expect to get any money in your cubbyhole if you don't steal some once in a while? And other than the drunken logger, her first husband was from the West Side, wealthy family. Well, he stepped out on her. She should have shot him, but she didn't. And then she married that second guy. He put in his time for the military up in Bremerton, and that's where he met my sister. Well, she told me she was going to get married again.
So the 4th time?
Well, Sally, why don't you let me pick out your next husband? Wouldn't that be, I mean, she needs some help, right? She got mad.
Oh, I bet.
M-A-D, with a capital M. And I said, well, got home shot. 4 times.
So was the 4th time the last time?
He was younger than her youngest child. Someone asked her why he looked so much younger than her. And she said, well, we could only afford one facelift, and he got it.
Well, I was gonna ask you, so you had 3 children, and 1 boy and 2 girls. What were their names, or are their names?
David, Priscilla, and Holly. And our son won the Woodsman of the Year award the year he was a senior at the high school here. And then he wanted to go to the Vietnam War. I said, no way. I didn't raise you to be cannon fodder, and you're not going over my dead body. And so he didn't go. But he followed us up to Alaska when we both got jobs up there. And he got a real good job at Aleutians, where they detonated the atomic bombs in Chitka.
Mm-hmm.
He got a job out there running heavy equipment to load up that waste. The government wasn't even going to do anything but leave it there. But they made them haul it all out in the way. And well, where else did it go? I don't know where it is now. They got that job all done, and then my son David and 14 other young men like him all got leukemia and died. And thanks to the government, they said it was safe.
Did he have children? Was he married?
He had a boy and a girl. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
What's there in life? Nothing. Our daughter went to nursing training and she's an RN. She's retired from the hospital here.
Is that Priscilla or Holly?
Priscilla. And Holly is a special ed teacher and she's retired because of type 1 diabetes. David and Priscilla were 2 years apart. Their birthdays were in the same month. Holly was born on my birthday, December 17th. That's probably why I named her Holly. I was wondering, what did I name her Holly anyway? I just regret that we came back here. We should have visited foreign countries. But Stan was in the war, so he doesn't care if he sees a foreign country again or not. Now I'm afraid to fly because we almost crashed one night in Fort Worth. I don't know why, but the pilot just took off and ran right into a thunderstorm. And we got hit right on the nose cone. And that big ball of fire just came down the body of that and hit the wing and turned and went off into the wild balloon. I said, I am never going to fly again. Never, ever, never.
Did you ever fly again? Or did you stick to it?
For a while, quite a while. And I don't fly hardly ever.
So I have to ask you about your retirement party. Because I hear it's a fantastic story.
Well, I probably should never tell it. Actually, I have a nice thank you diploma from the Salvation Army for the time I spent there. And so they had a farewell party for me. And I got there and this guy was there. I didn't know him. Good looking guy. Younger than me too. We had a nice party and it came to an end. And he came over and said, and I'm yours for the rest of the evening. I'm like, oh, I think I died and went to heaven. No. No, I said, I've been married once and we've never been unfaithful, I'm sure. Oh, he said, I just thought I would tell you. Sometimes he says, I get an offer once in a while.
What do you remember most about Stan?
He was a good dancer, but he couldn't roller skate. He was just a decent person, very decent. No, I've been perfectly happy with all my life, and friends and whatever we did, and our parents didn't have money to do anything like children do now. They have all their gewgaws and gadgets and you name it, they've got it. And it's entirely different. And I don't like this age.
Do you have a cell phone? You almost have to. I just asked because you had said that earlier.
I wish you hadn't brought that up. Do you have about 3 hours? I don't know. People are funny.